Hello, so I am back finally to resin and coat the lady canvas that I did about a month ago. I cleaned it in my usual way. It's taken a fair bit of dealing with all of the silicone. There is a video on my channel if you want to watch the process that I use. I did that for this canvas and it's beautifully level, but I'll just pop some gloves on and show you quickly the back area. So under here I have, see, filled in the back so the canvas doesn't sag with the weight of the resin. I've taped it off. Now there are two different tapes under there. See if I can get this popped back down nicely. There's frog tape, which is the green tape. I use it all the time and I love it. It sticks just enough and comes off just well enough. I ran out of that halfway around and I bought red washi tape. Absolutely useless, doesn't stick at all. So then I've gone on to a blue tape, which is rhino tape, and that seems pretty similar to the frog tape, so we'll see how that lasts. It all seems to have stayed stuck fairly nicely around the bottom. Just checking that now. I'm making sure all of the edges of these cups are perfectly under and not sticking out at all. It's why the stack here is a smaller type of cup, because of the way the backing is in there. I can't get one of these white stacks of cups under there. Right, let's see if we're still level. I hope so. No, we are not. What the heck? Okay, so I'm going to mess around a little while now to make this level. So we are nice and level now. I knew if I moved it that would be it. So it's taken a little bit of tweaking, but we're ready to rock. Today I'm using art resin. I'm going to be mixing 2 cups, one for each, and then I'll pop these into my jug, which I'll reuse and peel the resin back out of. When I was working on a lot of these other pieces, I was going with 400 mils, 500 mils, 600 mils. I had plenty. For this one, I'll start out right with 1000 mils and see how we go. So I'm going to pour equal parts of these, the hardener and the resin, into my cups. Oh, I'll just take a little bung out. Ow. There we go. I'll fill these cups all the way to the top. So that was the resin. Oh, this one's the hardener. With that. Just pop these down. Now I have got various stirrers. I like to reuse this spatula and peel the resin back off it. But straight away I'm going to begin mixing this one. That's coming in at about 900 mils. I am quite vigorous with the stirring. I find with the big spatula it doesn't hurt my hands nearly as much as a little silly piddly stick thing would. So it gives me a much easier way to stir. So I'll stick you onto pause again now while I just stir this and get it nice and clear. I do that for about 5 minutes. It does say on the bottle to go with 3. but I like to be extra thorough with it, and there is plenty of working time to do that. Right, I also took a moment then to put some extra tablecloths all around here because it's not a very big workspace compared to the size of this piece, so any resin runoff can hopefully not destroy my carpet. So it's nice and clear. We're on almost 900 mils and we're going to see how that works. Now I like to rub my edges and rub the resin all over the edges, and this piece I already do suspect that I'm going to have a few problem areas. This probably isn't going to be a one coat wonder. I haven't been able to be as vigorous with the cleaning process of this piece with the talc and the scrubbing and then the cleaning away of the talc with alcohol. I found there's a particular brand of paint that I used that I haven't used before that just isn't resistant like the others, and parts of it were coming away when I was cleaning. So I've had to be really gentle, and I had to touch up a little area on her back where the black had come away. I suspect, not to badmouth the brand, that it was Ocado fluid acrylic black that I had just bought and used for the first time. I'm not sure if the fluid acrylic just means that it's a higher amount of water. It was not resistant to the cleaning process, quite in the way the other paints were. It was nothing drastic. I caught it, I saw it and repaired it, left it to dry again for a good 3 weeks, and here we are. So I'll begin. I've got various swipers and things over here to help me move the resin around the place. I'll use that side that's not painty, but I have cleaned over it. There aren't any particles that are going to go in the resin. Excuse me. Got some handy wipes on hand. I have my mask, which I recommend that you wear. I also recommend you should probably have long sleeves to avoid getting any resin on your skin. Noted. But it's too warm. I have a little temperature thing here that says we're on 24 degrees, which isn't that bad, but all the windows and doors are closed to keep bugs out. So we're bug free, and there we go. I'll be popping my mask on very soon, just because it's a little bit stuffy in here. I do have the extractor fans on the areas where I'm just messing about, tweaking and speeding up. I'll be able to mute you and pop the extractor fan on as well. Fear not. Okie dokie. So I'm just pouring it all over the place. Oh, I am working from the outside in. It's just how I like to do it. You can pour it on in any fashion you like. And then I'll take the time to work this resin over the edges before I add the rest. Oh, she's lovely and shiny underneath. Hello, beauty. Okay, so hopefully this will all be speedy, and I'll speed it up in the video. And here I go, just kind of massaging the resin into the canvas almost. Obviously it isn't doing that, but it's giving it real nice first coverage. I should add as well, before I speed myself up and stop talking, is that the tape that I did put on underneath is slightly in from the edge, because if I had put the tape all the way to the edge, I'd be creating a lip on the side of the piece when the resin comes to rest there and create its little drips. And that's quite awkward to sand off. So it's slightly back, and then the drips that do form are underneath the canvas properly. No fluff for me. I have my mosquito net above my head, ready to come over, but in fear that any dust is going to come off that. I have already shaken it before I began, but I've got a lovely big piece of cardboard that I'm going to rest above this, and it's bigger than this piece. It's what another canvas this size came in, so it is bigger. I'll stick that over the top and then I'll pull down the mosquito nets. And then no little critters can spoil my resin. No dust particles. Well, you know they will. There's always something. Whether it's one speck of dust or one little bubble, there's always a reason for me to be giving it another coat. The edge here is so smooth now. You can feel the way that it glides. You can't feel the texture of the canvas. It isn't going to stay that way. I will have to come back over this area. But it gives it a good start. We do have around 45 minutes as per the bottle, but I do think I get quite a bit longer out of the resin. I don't know if it's with me being in the UK and it not actually being that warm and humid generally. But we're okay. I'm just going to duck in front of you now and smooth my way up this side. Bringing the resin to the edge here, and then I'll begin to rub it in. As I add more resin onto the top, I'll get more coming over the edges, and I'll just smooth my way over again and repeat this process. It seems to be quite a foolproof way of going about it, continually taking the drips from underneath to prevent it dragging more resin over than it really needs to be doing. Do you know, I've geared up to do this piece for a while. It's not difficult, it's just, I don't know, you put so much into a big piece like this. It's the final stages, and I don't want to ruin it. Not that I am, you know, it's cured with another coat. Regardless, it can be beautiful. It's just the time and money with the amount of coats that it is going to take, and then of course the weight of the piece. Needs to be taken into account. Sometimes I'm a perfectionist. I could go and go and go. Some of these pieces have got 3 layers, 4 layers. The art resin I created has 6 layers. But that gave it some wonderful depth. Right, this is lovely. I'm not losing much. I'm losing a little bit towards me, I think. But that could be because this side's had its coating, do you know, it helps more come off once you've taken it over the edge. Okie dokie, lovely, nice smooth sides. I'll just add a whole load more resin to this piece. I think I see a couple of already pesky areas. I'll just spend a minute working the resin into the piece. I'll just do this all the way along. I'll come back with any resistance and just do this. Let it settle and do this as long as the working time permits, rather than adding more silicone and stuff into the resin. Not that there's silicone in there, the way I worded that. No, I mean the silicone that's on the painting. It can help it to have silicone in the resin also. But that scares me. Okay. Now I can actually feel my board slightly underneath as I run over the surface, and hopefully that doesn't mean the areas are too raised. Right. So rather than pushing my resin down to the last minute like I tend to do, I'm going to add a whole lot more now. In fact, rather than scraping that out, I'll leave what's in there, and it can either help me excuse me, take out the resin after it's cured, or I can use it for emergency touch-up areas. Okay, so I'll just work this level. Oh, why did I even hype this up into a big deal? It's nice. It's relaxing. It's so nice to see it come through as well. Gleaming and bright. So just to make sure I've got some nice coverage and no well in the middle, I'm just going to come over with my spatula ever so carefully with the lightest of touches. I'm not swiping this resin about. I'm just making sure it's got a lovely, even coverage. Yes, just like that. I feel like we've got slightly more resin over here than near her thighs. Here. Okay, so edges one more time, and I'll just continue to do this. I'm going to use the blowtorch in a moment to get rid of the bubbles, and I'll just continue to smooth the edges. I use the blowtorch, smooth the edges, until this gels to a stage where it does not want to be touched. Well, not quite until that stage, until a moment just before that stage. It makes it seem so simple. And it is, or it pretends to be, until it begins resisting. And then the fun begins before the wait time runs out to do something about it. The massaging does generally tend to work. Sorry for my back while I just go over this area. But she is beautifully covered. Now if you get too eager looking at your piece and end up with the resin in your hair, while it's still uncured, these wipes are amazing for getting the resin off things. I spilt half a bottle of hardener before now on my carpet, and I just gave it a wipe with these wipes, and hey ho, presto, it came off. The carpet's still fine. And it came out of my hair. If you let it dry in your hair, that's a different matter. Obviously you don't really want to be getting resin on you. I'm a lot less messy with it now. None on my arms, none anywhere. My hair's very nicely, niftily out of the way in this glorious hairstyle. Right, that's all covered, that's fine. Okay. The wipes I was talking about. Big wipes, just multi-surface wipes. You get them all over the place. Halfords was one place. Yorkshire Trader, if you're in the UK and you actually know the names of these places. I'm just giving myself a wipe in case any resin decided to jump onto me. So I'll get my mask and blowtorch, bring you closer in. So mask on, I've got this one, I've given this a clean also because I don't want anything in my work. So from there you can probably see all the little bubbles, and you should hopefully be able to see them all disappear now. I've seen a lot of the bubbles disappear, hopefully. I'll just do this again. I'm giving the resin a chance to settle so I don't overheat it. There's a lot of bubbles in this area that I've still to get, and a few persistent ones around the edges. So at this point I'm just going to get a cocktail stick and take any bubbles out by hand. Righty ho, I will continue to babysit this little beauty. I apologise for the glare. Here she is. Not getting too close because I have just finished all the bubble popping process. She's still very much uncured. We have a little area just on her hand by her face. I just added a little dimple of resin, but it probably is after the time. So there's that little bit that's slightly troubling. Then we move on down past her boobies, over to her hips, and there's a little area. I did think the top corner might give me a problem, but it's just up here and it's ever so slight. Silicone resistance. It's like the bubbles left after I popped them. There's an ever so slight indentation. It doesn't seem to be showing up. It's maybe levelled its way out. Oh my word, I thought there was a spider crawling on my foot. I apologise. And there we have it. Two little specks there. These are white specks that are already in the painting. Although the camera has picked up a little fuzz just at the bottom that I'll fish out in a moment. And down we go. And there we have it. All resin coated, shining like glass. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and talk to me in the comments. Bye for now.